Hi guys, it's Thomas here from COTBase.com. Welcome to a weekly COT review. Today we're going to be analyzing the 17th Commitments of Traders Report of 2024, and as we always do, we shall start off by looking at the largest changes in commercials net positions. But before we jump to the review, just a brief reminder for those who are new to COT analysis. Here at COTBase.com, you'll find a lot of educational material. Not only do we have these in written format, but we have some very useful videos as well that can guide you through the analysis process. And of course, if you have further questions, feel free to reach out to info@cotbase.com or just comment underneath these videos and we'll try to help you. Back to the review, and starting off with our first market, you can see platinum is on top of our list based on a 52-week look back period. So analyzing the recent change to the past 52-week time range. We are analyzing the classic CO2 report type, futures and options combined data. Okay, so let's get started. We have the platinum as our first market with a 34% change in commercials net position. So of course, red line representing commercials. The green is large speculators, and of course on a separate scale chart we have non-reportables, or as we call them, small speculators. So here's this recent change, which is definitely much greater than average. It is a bullish COT change signal suggesting some strengthening in the next couple of days. If we move on to a 5 years chart, you can see that there's not much of a clear extreme signal in the market right now. So it's I'd say it's really the change signal. If we go back to the 1 year chart, you can see actually that this bearish change signal that was roughly the same size that of course was issued I believe on the 14th of April was actually quite a good signal, because afterwards we have 2 weeks of declining prices. Are we going to see the same thing in the opposite direction? Well, if we go back over here, I do see an example in January. This was a greater than average change signal. One could argue maybe this one already, but it wasn't as large. But by the time we got this one, you can see that the market kind of halted. Now, it didn't really push the market much higher, but it did help us identify that there is a support level over here. So we'll see if this bullish change signal does anything, but it's there. It's good to know. So let's just move on and look at our next market, which is going to be the British pound. Here we have a 28% change in commercials net positions. You can see the magnitude over there on the chart. It's definitely much greater than average. Top three, we had a larger change signal, but that was a bearish one back over here in June of 2023. So once again, this is a bullish change signal suggesting strengthening in the next couple of days. If we move on to a 5 years chart, then of course you can see that with these recent changes, week by week, we're getting closer and closer to bullish COT extreme levels. Now, of course, if you look at this 5 years chart, you can see that it's easy for traders to reach even greater extremes. In case of commercials, that would be about 125,000 contracts net long. In case of large speculators, 100,000 contracts net short on this 5 years chart. Now, there is another tool that I would advise you to give a try. This is actually our own indicator, the iCOT Intraday Indicator. So this is something we've developed after many years of research. And you can see that this signal, this green vertical line over here, we call it stripe signal, is coming when we have both commercials and large speculators at an extreme. I should mention these are not COT charts from the Commodity Futures Trading Commission. It is not that COT data. It is our own, we call it iCOT scores chart. But because we've developed it to mimic the same type of signals as we have in classic COT analysis, we do call it, just for sake of ease, commercials and large speculators. So you see we have this beautiful stripe signal just around that that bottom over here. If I go back to the 1 year chart, it's more clear. You can see over here we had that blip over there, and just at that time we got this stripe signal. What a wonderful signal from the iCOT Intraday Indicator. By the way, if you're new to COT analysis or our service, you will find a ton of information on our indicators on the indicators page, and you can read more about how to use this wonderful tool, especially if you trade on shorter time frame. This chart that I show a lot of times is on gold 1 minute candlestick chart. We explain all the different signals, but of course we have some very useful videos as well that can explain to you step by step what these signals and tools are. This is the AfterSignal version, meaning it will actually identify the time to actually enter the trade, filtering out a lot of signals that may not be as efficient. So for instance, here we have a bunch of these. You see these yellow diamonds. It's showing that there's a stress building up, but the AfterSignal will actually give you the time when this signal is confirmed, and it may be advisable to enter the market. So it is a very useful tool, and of course it can go down into a very short time frame. This is a 5 minute candlestick chart. So I think it supplements the longer term analysis from Commitments of Traders analysis very, very well. But back to the review and moving on to rough rice, where we have a 23% change in commercials net positions. So once again, we're talking about a larger than average change size. You can see actually that the past couple of weeks before, we had larger than average bullish change signals that kind of signaled we may see a change in this trend. If we move to the 5 years chart, of course, we get a chance to examine stress levels in this market, and you can see that that time was actually a relative bullish extreme. I wouldn't say huge, because you can see on this 5 years chart, commercials going net long would have been more of a clear signal. Nevertheless, if you look at just the past 1 year, it's definitely leaning towards the bullish side when we were there at that point. So that's rough rice right now. Where are we right now? I'd say it's not as clear. I don't know if this bullish signal has the power to really move the market even higher than here. But keep in mind, we were in a bearish extreme zone in the beginning of this year, actually. So we'll see what happens. I think we should wait on the sidelines a little bit. It's not the signals aren't that clear. Moving on to large speculators COT Extreme analysis, we have the Euro-British Pound currency pair futures on top of our list with an all-time COT Extreme in large speculators net positions. Now, I should mention that this is a market that has relatively shorter history, so it dates back. I wouldn't count these. I'd say since 2016. Okay, so definitely much less data than we have in other currencies. So what I advise traders to do if you're trading the Euro-British Pound currency pair is just look at the Euro and the British Pound separately and come to a conclusion. Nevertheless, it is suggesting we should see higher prices coming in this currency pair. But again, if you want, you could actually use the iCOT Intraday Indicator on this market as well. Japanese yen will be the next market. Here we have a 877 report extreme. We've been talking about the Japanese yen the past few reviews. As you can see, as the market is going lower and lower, we're getting higher and higher extreme signals. So the stress basically in the market is building up. Commercials are at 170,000 contracts net long, while large speculators are getting very close to 200,000 contracts net long. Now, of course, advantage of using COT base is that you can actually see the entire history of COT data on one chart. And you can see that we are bumping up against all-time COT extreme signals. You can see what happened in the past when we had these all-time COT extreme bullish signals. We're getting there, so it's interesting to see all this happening right now. And last but not least, we're going to look at the true US dollar index. I should mention there's no market called the true US dollar index. It's something we created, and the chart itself, the dollar index, is the dollar index. However, the COT charts underneath are actually our own creation. So we combine the individual currency futures, because of course we all understand that the dollar index is basically a basket of currencies. So we took all those currencies, and took their COT data and combined it into one combined COT data. So this is the true US dollar index, showing us a significant bearish COT extreme. I should mention that if you look at this 10 years chart, you can see that when we had large bearish extreme, it doesn't necessarily translate into a top, right? So you should be cautious with the dollar index over here. Nevertheless, it's there. And if we see the dollar index rise, I would expect this to increase this stress level in the market, and of course eventually we should see the dollar topping based on the commitments of traders report. Now, of course, there's a lot to do here at COTBase.com. As our name suggests, we are a service providing services around the COT data, commitments of traders data, to very, very detailed degree. So if you come here on the left side panel and we talked about the British pound, for instance, you can actually dig into the data quite deeply. Not only do we provide this on the website, but if you want, you can actually download the data for yourself if you're a COT-based Pro member. So Pro members actually get the data and you can download it in a bunch of different formats. So you can choose the format you wish and go from there. So I don't know, we talked about the British pound. Let's check that one, and then you say that's all we want, and of course it exports it, and that's pretty much it. So a lot to do here at COTBase.com. Thank you so much for your attention. If you have any questions, feel free to reach us at info@cotbase.com or comment underneath the video. I appreciate your attention. I wish you guys a wonderful weekend, and I hope to see you in my next COT review. Take care. Goodbye.